AinuliSphere 21. We like the video you uploaded of the infinite monkey cage, but why? Why that one? Why was that uploaded? I hear you ask, sort of. I chose that. There were a lot on the BBC that I listened through, and they were all kind of entertaining. There's one basically on superstition, which was quite funny, but it's all kind of the things we've heard before. So why I chose this one is that it specifically dealt with something that when I came across statistics and probability and things and read about those, that was the moment where I felt that my own eyes were just so open that I couldn't blink for the next week. That's when the whole skepticism thing kind of just clicks in my head, is when you think about these things. It's just such a totally new way for me of looking at a situation. It wasn't like the normal thing that we, on all these discussions that kind of brought us all to YouTube to look at the atheist versus God kind of things. We would have one side saying, well, from my point of view, this book, lovely, and then, well, from my point of view, this fossil, lovely, and it's all kind of like, well, this pen, it's a good pen. Why is it a good pen? Well, from my point of view, you can, it's easy, it's manageable to hold in a pen-like fashion, and it writes things. Well, I could see where you're coming from, but look at it from my point of view. This pen is very blue. And what I really want from my ink is blueness. And well, yeah, I can see that kind of position as well. But this, looking at this, for me, it was more like, well, look at this pen, it's blue. Well, yes, but actually, if you look at it from this perspective, fuck me! Yeah, you can see how that makes sense now. The book responsible for this revelation to me was The Drunkards Walk by the brilliantly named Leonard Mlodinow. That one there. He's the guy that co-wrote Grand Design with Stephen Hawking. He's a something physicist, basically. But in this one he's talking purely about statistics, probability, chance, randomness, and how that can affect our daily lives and our perception of that, how we relate to those kind of things. On the face of it, sounds like utter wank, to be honest, but I've read a few reviews of it, and it was a really good read. It was fun as hell. I'll just give you an example of kind of the way we think about statistics doesn't fit with the way statistics actually are. There was a case with a mother, we'll call her Sally Clark, because that was her name. She had 2 children, young children, that both of them died really early on. And she said this was just, she didn't do it, basically. They just died naturally. Cot death kind of thing. What was it? Sudden infant death syndrome, SIDS for short. There was a court case about this because they thought this was suspicious. Both of her kids had died like this. And the main case against her was they brought in a stats guy who said the probability of 2 children dying of this is the probability of one dying times by the other dying, and then it came out with 73 million to 1. So obviously the prosecution think, right, 73 million to 1 that she did not kill her children is the way they looked at that and thought, right, okay, lock her up. They then turned around and said, no, these stats aren't right, because if one died then and the other died, they're related. There might be a factor that related genetics or something like that relating the, fine. They cut it down a bit to 2.75 million to 1 odds that they did die naturally like that, and they thought, okay, well, that's still horseshit, lock her up. So why is this the wrong way of looking at this? Clearly, if you add together the probability of a mother actually murdering her child with the probability that they've given of a child dying of cot death, you're not going to equal 1. You're going to equal 2 in however many million. So clearly, they can't look at this and conclude, therefore, that, the odds are these children are still alive. Obviously, there is something wrong here. What they've done is they've already selected part of that equation after the fact. They've selected a case where the 2 children aren't living anymore. They are dead. This is getting very morbid, I know, but what this is known as is the prosecutor's fallacy. What they've done is look at the probability of 2 children dying of murder or cot death. What's actually happened, what the question they should be asking is, what is the probability that the children who died of murder or cot death? So that's one way when you've got to really kind of think around these things in not quite an intuitive way. Plenty more examples of that in this book, along with a lot of other things and how it's relevant in other areas like medicine and things. Also, again, let's recommend Mr. Ben Goldacre's Bad Science for loads of examples of where bad stats have been purposely used to kind of mislead people into a certain product or test or trial or whatever. And that's basically what I wanted to present with that Infinite Monkey video. Thanks.